What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we are talking about a big story coming out of the LEC, a story that could really be affecting the future of G2 esports, but also the future of pretty much the whole LEC, because this is something really big and crazy. But it is nice to be finally talking about the LEC once again, because obviously we've been talking about the LCS a ton recently. LCK's kicked off, LPL's kicked off. The LCS hasn't officially kicked off yet, but they've had the lock-in tournament. But don't worry, LEC fans, things are going to start shifting your way, obviously, with the LEC kicking off this weekend. So we'll have a ton of stories and stuff to talk about. But this is actually a story from a couple of days ago, but I just haven't had time to get around to it yet because we've been so focused on the LCS lock-in. There's actual games and stuff. But this is a story revolving G2 and kind of the meme, or maybe not a meme, of Selfmade potentially being headed to G2 at some point in the future. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys are not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. Just recently, we hit 6,000 subscribers, and that is awesome. And I wanted to say thank you guys so much. But 7,000 is next, and 75% of the people that watch my videos are still not subscribed. So if you're not subscribed right now, click that button real quick. I would appreciate it a ton. We still have so much more room to grow. We have we can just keep running those numbers up, and I would appreciate it a ton. Also, dropping a like on this video if you enjoy my content, if you like what we do here on this channel, or if you just want to support me and my content, that would be awesome. Helps me out the YouTube algorithm. With that being said, here we go, getting right into this one. January 15th. This was 2 days ago. I'm recording this the night of January 17th. I think this video is going to be coming out the 18th, so maybe this was 3 days ago. So we're a little bit late, a little bit slow, but still the same stuff to talk about. G2 tweeted this out. Their official G2 by Adidas 2021 Pro Kit, which, first of all, that is so sick. G2 getting that sponsorship with Adidas, getting Adidas jerseys made, that is so awesome. I mean, they're getting these bigger mainstream sponsorships, but also Adidas obviously makes very high quality, very clean stuff. They're getting to work with their designers and everything. And the new G2 jerseys look absolutely sick. But to get those big sponsors, I know, I think the LPL has full Nike kits. That's awesome. G2 getting Adidas stuff, I love to see it. Esports getting more and more mainstream, getting more and more out to the public, and it just legitimizes this stuff even more. And obviously this offseason was a huge one for so many teams, so many rebrands, so many new jerseys, so many new looks, and teams are doing a really great job with it, and G2 wanted to be a part of that because they always are at the forefront of content, of merch, and of gameplay on the Rift. They're trying to be the biggest brand in the world, and they're doing an awesome job at that. And again, their new jerseys look sick. They look really awesome. I'm sure they're going to sell crazy. So many Reckless jerseys are going to be purchased for sure, and just so many new G2 jerseys because they got a ton of fans this offseason. But so they posted this little reveal video, the regular thing where they're kind of unveiling their new jersey. I don't know where we can actually see it. That's kind of what the design for the jersey looks like, and I think that is so sick. The streaks going into the G2 logo, also the G2 logo like pops out a little bit. It looks super clean. It looks super cool. I honestly might consider picking one up myself, even though I'm not a huge LEC guy or anything, but they look super cool. But the big story here is when you skip ahead to 59 seconds, I believe it is. We can let this run a little bit. I don't know why it's not loading. Might have to refresh the page real quick. Hold on. Technical difficulties. All right, so when we go to their jersey reveal, 59 seconds in right here, if we let this play, we're going to see, as you can see right there for like half a second, the jersey says Selfmade on the back of it, which is so funny. And again, this has been a meme for a long time, for the whole offseason. Since Fnatic and G2 have swapped so many players. Obviously, G2 has stolen away Caps. G2 now stole away Reckless. It seems like, every couple of years, they're being able to steal away another player. In the last couple of Worlds, obviously, G2 has been amazing. Jankos has been great in the LEC, and Jankos has even been pretty great at Worlds, but he kind of got jungle diff super hard when they made it to the World Finals. He's kind of the one area of G2 where maybe they could get a little bit of an improvement, where Jankos is very good. He's very consistent. He fits their playstyle well. But man, Selfmade is out there, and he's looking like a beast, and it seems like he would fit that G2 style really well. Also, Jankos is a super popular streamer, and he's not necessarily going to retire or anything, but this year, G2 is all in on trying to win a world title, and if they come up short, if they were going to look to upgrade anybody, like maybe you could upgrade Mickey, but that'd be tough. Maybe you could upgrade Wonder, but that'd be tough. But Yanko seems to have a pretty direct comparison guy that might be ready to go. Who, even if you don't think Selfmade's better, a lot of people do think Selfmade's better than Yankos right now, but even if you don't, at least it'd be something different and just a new look for this G2 team to see if they'd be able to rise to new heights. So that's where this meme kind of started, and people really picked it up and were like, G2 just steals all Fnatic's players. G2 is just Fnatic Academy, and they just keep stealing all their players, or Fnatic Fnatic is G2 Academy, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And they just keep stealing all their players. So now Selfmade becomes the next guy. And that's what all the fans started tweeting about it, saying that. But now G2 has talked about this before. I mean, there's been memes of Carlos asking Jack, the C9 CEO, if he needs a jungler, because maybe they'll sell Jankos off to him. And then the Selfmade stuff started coming out. So they do this, and Selfmade responds to it. Can I get a discount? And that's pretty hilarious. That's pretty funny. Also, Jankos chiming in on it as well, because he's he's a big memester. He always gets in on this stuff. And he said, wait, 059, he saw it as well. He thinks it's hilarious, I'm sure. But what is kind of weird here is that in most major sports, I don't really know about European sports as much, but in North America at least, this is considered a pretty scummy practice. This would be considered poaching, and it's illegal in pretty much all the major sports leagues because Selfmade is under contract with Fnatic, and you're not allowed to talk with players who are under contract with a specific team, obviously, without without having the permission of that team, without having Fnatic's permission. G2 is not supposed to be able to be in contact with Selfmade, but by doing these little memes and stuff, they're kind of dropping hints that they're interested in him, because Fnatic is supposed to have the advantage of being able to re-sign Selfmade, of him not knowing what else is out there, not knowing if another team would want him or how much money they'd offer him or whatever. But now G2 on an official social media account dropping hints and memes like this, while they are hilarious and while the community really is eating them up and liking them stuff, there's definitely some truth to them, because again, this offseason, Carlos saw how much money he can get for a player like Perk selling him off, and Jankos would fetch a similar market. There's going to be teams like Vitality, like Evil Geniuses, these teams with a ton of money to throw around, where G2 is a business, and if they have the opportunity to pick up Selfmade for pretty cheap, and then sell off Jankos for multi-million dollars, and then have a pretty, even if you don't think Selfmade's necessarily better, to have at least a pretty similar level jungler and then get a couple $1 million on top of it, that would be an amazing business move. But again, I just think it's a little bit scummy. I think it's a little bit sketchy, and there's a reason that it's illegal in most of the American sports, because again, you were supposed to have protections for your players. The small market teams are supposed to be protected and be able to have, the first priority to talk to their guys and to try and re-sign them to long-term contracts and stuff, and, keep them in with their team and their brand. But G2 is obviously using the power of their insane branding, their insane lineup, and the draw, and the hype of them trying to be one of the best teams in the world to kind of lure Selfmade in just prematurely. If Selfmade's a free agent, you can go ahead and do whatever you want, but obviously he's still under contract with Fnatic, and now he's tweeting back at them, and it's just becoming this kind of weird dynamic. And obviously Carlos has been known as a cutthroat guy. He's been known as some guy that, maybe bends a rule sometimes, maybe is a scummy businessman a little bit. And, you got to do what you got to do to win at the end of the day. I can't really blame him, especially if there's no rules or anything against this. But no, at least in my background in the United States, in North American sports, that this is, widely considered something to stay away from. This is something that people have gotten in trouble in doing it before for doing. The teams that it happens to usually get really, really mad. And again, if Selfmade does end up wanting to leave Fnatic and go to G2, he has that right once he's a free agent. He has that decision. But G2 and Selfmade are both supposed to have to wait that time. Again, this is all a ton of speculation, because G2 has their jungler for this year. Fnatic and Selfmade are set to go for this year. But again, if Fnatic has a bad year and say they don't even make it out of groups at Worlds, or say they get bounced in the quarterfinals again, that Fnatic roster might break up, and Selfmade may want to move on to bigger and better things. And if G2 doesn't win Worlds, or doesn't have as good of a showing at Worlds as they want, they could be looking to make some changes too. And G2 Selfmade just makes so much sense for so many reasons, and we know that G2 is just going to constantly be looking to get better and better and better, always upgrade their team, always stealing away players to take away from the other teams and stuff. This is something that I would not put past them at all. This is a real possibility, which makes this whole situation even crazier, because again, they're pretending to be memeing about it, and they make a funny video where they're selling a G2 Selfmade jersey. But again, they are really dropping hints to Selfmade that, hey man, we're interested. If you do want to do this thing next year, it might happen. And yes, Jankos is messing around and he doesn't really care, and I'm sure he isn't too affected by it. But, it could, depending on your player, it could affect them too, which is something they have to watch out for. Luckily, Jankos has a great mentality, and maybe even he knows. Maybe he's considering walking away from it after this year or whatever. Because again, he has a very, very lucrative streaming career ahead of him. Streaming is much easier, much less stressful, and the money might even be better in full-time streaming than it is for being a player on G2 Esports. Now, that doesn't offer him the chance of building up his legacy or trying to win Worlds or winning more LEC titles or MVPs or building up his brand or whatever. But it does offer him some more opportunities, especially as you get older. He wants to, maybe just build up his social life, or just have more free time, or to do more different things, or to enjoy all the money he's made and enjoy life, and then just, yeah, continue to stream. So this whole situation, this adds up to this big shitstorm of the fans all talking about G2 Selfmade, everyone tweeting about it, everybody hyping it up, G2 getting involved, Selfmade getting involved. And if I'm Fnatic, I would not be happy. And, you know, you really need to stand up for yourself, because pretty soon, if G2 is just able to continue stealing all the players from everyone and continue to do some of these things, the LEC is not really going to turn into something that people like. If G2 is just, if the LEC is just so top heavy, you know, people don't really like dominant teams. People want there to at least be 2 teams competitive at the top, if not more. You don't want it to be a one-team region. You don't want to be one region dominating everyone. You don't want to be one region just kind of bullying the other, stealing their players, all that stuff. That's no fun. You want Fnatic to fight back and be competitive. You want Rogue and Mad Lions and Schalke to all be in contention and to all build up and keep up with G2, and to, you know, be constantly finding new players and building up the roster and stuff. But when you do find an awesome guy like Selfmade, to lock him up long-term, to build around him, to have him be the future of your team, so in a couple of years, you too can have a lineup like G2. But if G2 is constantly stealing everyone's best players, selling their players off to North America, having their guys retire, and they just constantly are taking the best player at each position, then that's not really a good thing in the long term for the LEC. Yes, it might give the LEC a good chance to compete at Worlds or something like that, but I think overall the league would suffer, and I don't think it's something people would want. Even though the Selfmade memes can be funny, even though G2's doing a funny job of it and probably getting a lot of likes on Twitter and stuff. I mean, this is their official jersey reveal. This video got 500K views just on Twitter, so I can't even imagine, you know, the views and hits and stuff it's doing all over the place. And for this to be the place that you do a G2 Selfmade thing, I don't know. That does not sit very well with me, and it shouldn't really sit well with Fnatic's organization, Fnatic management, or really Fnatic fans, but probably just LEC fans in general. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. I just want to get my thoughts and opinions out there and to give you guys the latest up-to-date information that I believe, you know, again, this is all a joke, but I think there's some truth to it. I think G2 is actually, you know, I'm sure they always have been, but now they're starting to give us these hints that this G2 Selfmade thing could actually be happening in the near future. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Again, it helps me out so much with the YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think G2 is going too far with it? You think they're just messing around? Or do you think G2 Selfmade is actually going to happen? Subscribe to update on my latest content. Let's hit 7K. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!